Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you. Joan O'Brien, the radiant actress and gifted singer who graced Hollywood's golden era, has passed away at 89, following a prolonged journey with Alzheimer's disease. For those who remember the elegance of cinema in the 50s and 60s, Joan's presence remains unforgettable. Born on Valentine's Day in 1936, Joan's life mirrored the charm and warmth of the day itself. She rose from her early days on Los Angeles' hometown jamboree to national attention as a featured singer on The Bob Crosby Show. But it was on the silver screen where Joan truly came alive. She made waves in Operation Petticoat, holding her own with Cary Grant, and captivated audiences as the caring nurse in It Happened at the World's Fair, melting hearts, including Elvis Presley's, with her sincerity. Alongside legends like John Wayne in The Alamo and Jerry Lewis in It's Only Money, Joan's performances carried grace, wit, and a down-to-earth charm that audiences embraced. Though she stepped away from Hollywood in the mid-60s, her spirit never faded. Joan chose family over fame, raising her children and later lending her warmth to the hospitality world. Despite facing the profound challenges of memory loss in her later years, her legacy remains vivid in the memories of fans who knew her from the screen and in the hearts of those who loved her in real life. Joan's journey was one of light, luminous on screen, generous in life, and courageous through hardship. Her story is not just one of Hollywood, but of quiet strength and timeless grace. And for those who watched her dance through scenes with a twinkle in her eye, she will always be remembered. For nearly 5 decades, Jo Don Baker brought unforgettable grit, heart, and humanity to the screen. From small-town Texas to the heights of Hollywood, his journey was defined not just by rugged roles, but by a deep, enduring spirit that resonated far beyond the frame. On May 7th, at the age of 89, Jo Don's remarkable story came to a close, leaving behind a legacy of strength, resilience, and quiet compassion. Best known for his breakthrough role as Sheriff Buford Pusser in Walking Tall, Jo Don stood tall, both literally and symbolically, as a figure of justice and unflinching courage. His performance struck a nerve with a nation navigating turbulent times, offering a cinematic symbol of moral clarity and determination. That same strength shone through in roles in Junior Bonner, Charlie Varick, and 3 James Bond films, where he played both a fearsome villain and a trusted ally. Yet beneath the hard-edged characters lived a man described by those closest to him as deeply kind, intellectually curious, and full of warmth. A lover of animals and nature, Jo Don embraced a quieter life off-screen, finding peace in books and the simple beauty of the world around him. He began with modest roots, working his way through college on an athletic scholarship before serving in the U.S. Army. His path led to the Actors Studio in New York, Broadway stages, and ultimately to some of cinema's most iconic moments. Though he never sought the spotlight, Jo Don Baker became a beloved presence, etched into the memories of those who grew up with his films, and into the hearts of those fortunate enough to know him personally. He leaves behind a legacy not just of great performances, but of unwavering authenticity. Jo Don Baker reminded us that true strength lies in standing firm for what's right, and doing so with grace. Breaking news. Oprah Winfrey is not just a name, she is a force of nature, a symbol of transformation, and a living testament to what the human spirit can endure and achieve. She is not only a broadcaster, producer, and philanthropist, she is a memory that echoes through millions of hearts. Her story, laced with heartbreak and healing, transcends television screens and reaches into the deeply personal. In every gesture, every word, every silence she allows, Oprah speaks volumes about survival, empathy, and the power of voice. In June 2024, headlines buzzed across the world. Oprah Winfrey had been hospitalized. The cause? A sudden bout of stomach flu that left her severely dehydrated. For most, it would have been a routine health concern. But for Oprah's global community, it was a moment of pause. Her close friend, Gayle King, tried to ease the public anxiety, assuring everyone that Oprah was recovering well, even poking fun at how people were forming prayer circles. Yet behind the lighthearted tone was a shared truth. Oprah matters. Her well-being matters because she has become more than a celebrity. She is family to those who grew up with her voice guiding them through joy and grief. But the strength she embodies today was forged in unimaginable adversity. Born in 1954 in rural Mississippi, Oprah's earliest memories were not of safety, but of survival. Her childhood was steeped in poverty, instability, and deep emotional wounds. Raised initially by her grandmother, then later her mother in Milwaukee, she lived through experiences that many do not survive, experiences she later revealed not to shock, but to shine light on others walking the same path. At just 14, Oprah became pregnant. The baby, a boy, lived only 1 week. This trauma, like so many others, could have broken her. But instead, it became part of the fuel that propelled her forward. She moved to Nashville to live with her father, Vernon Winfrey, whose structure and discipline would provide the first real safety net in her life. There, she found her footing in speech competitions and local radio. And slowly, a voice that had once been silenced began to rise. Decades later, that same voice would echo across the nation. As host of The Oprah Winfrey Show, she captivated viewers not through spectacle, but through soul. She asked questions others feared. She listened with her whole heart, and in doing so, she reshaped the landscape of American television. Her show became a space where taboo topics were gently unwrapped, where trauma met compassion, and where healing felt possible. Yet even amid global fame, Oprah's inner wounds were never far. In a moving episode of her podcast, she spoke candidly about her mother, Vernita Lee, who passed away in 2018. When asked to give a eulogy, Oprah confessed she struggled to find anything kind to say. "She did not abandon me," Oprah finally concluded, her voice breaking. "She did the best she knew how." The complexity of that statement, and the grace it carries, is emblematic of Oprah herself. She has not denied pain. She has not erased it. She has integrated it, turned it into a bridge between herself and others. Her honesty has created a blueprint for emotional resilience. Oprah has shown that it is possible to build a billion-dollar empire while still tending to the scars of the soul. Her transparency about body image, self-worth, and mental well-being has made her not just admired, but trusted. In an era of curated perfection, she reminds us that the most powerful thing we can be is real. Her relationship with her health, too, has been an evolving narrative. The recent hospitalization was not her first public health scare. She has long been candid about the toll stress and emotional conflict can take on the body. Her lifelong challenge with weight became, over the years, a broader conversation about how we judge ourselves and others. In 2023 and 2024, she led national conversations around body shame, bringing compassion into a space so often ruled by ridicule. But Oprah never allowed hardship to define her, only refine her. She founded OWN, a television network aimed at telling stories with soul. She launched Oprah's Book Club, turning unknown authors into literary sensations. She became a philanthropist, funding education for girls in South Africa and supporting countless causes through her foundation. and still, she continues to evolve. What makes Oprah Winfrey's legacy so enduring is not the magnitude of her wealth or the reach of her media empire. It is the courage with which she confronts memory, the dignity with which she carries both triumph and grief, and the generosity with which she offers her story so that others might better understand their own. In one of the most vulnerable moments of her podcast, Oprah described the internal conflict of saying goodbye to her mother. "There was a little booklet the hospice gave me," she recalled, "on how to have the final conversation. And I thought, I am Oprah Winfrey. I have interviewed everyone from presidents to prisoners, and here I am, reading a guide on how to speak to my own mother." Her honesty, again, disarmed all pretense. It allowed people to see not Oprah the icon, but Oprah the daughter, the child still learning how to love and let go. For those who see her only as a media mogul, they miss the deeper miracle. Oprah Winfrey is not famous because she sought attention. She is famous because she paid attention to the hurt, to the overlooked, to the stories no one wanted to tell. And in doing so, she gave millions the permission to heal. Through illness and recovery, trauma and truth, loss and love, Oprah continues to stand. Not as a statue of perfection, but as a living, breathing proof that you can be shaped by pain and still grow toward the light. Her legacy is not built in studios or on sound stages. It is built in the quiet moments when someone says, "Because of her, I believed I could survive." And so, we honor her, not just for the lives she has touched, but for the one life she never stopped fighting for, her own. With heartfelt reverence, we honor Robert Benton, a quiet force in American cinema, whose remarkable journey from struggle to artistry left a legacy of tenderness, truth, and perseverance. Born in Waxahachie, Texas, Robert faced the formidable challenge of dyslexia from an early age. In a world shaped by words, he found reading and writing to be daily battles. Yet, through the unwavering support of his mother and a spirit of quiet determination, he transformed this obstacle into his greatest creative gift. Robert's storytelling was marked by clarity, compassion, and restraint. His path was not paved with ease. He left graduate school early, was drafted into the military, and entered the film world through the back door, first as an editor and writer. Against the odds, he co-wrote the landmark Bonnie and Clyde, a film that redefined modern American cinema. He went on to direct Kramer vs. Kramer, a groundbreaking exploration of family and fatherhood, winning 2 Academy Awards. Years later, he revisited his roots in Places in the Heart, drawing from the trials of his grandmother's life during the Great Depression. The film earned him a 3rd Oscar and deepened his legacy as a storyteller of resilience and humanity. Benton never sought the spotlight. His strength lay in listening, observing, and understanding the quiet pain and beauty in everyday life. His films offered no easy answers, only honest ones. On May 11, 2025, Robert passed away peacefully at home in New York City. His life was filled with challenges, but more importantly, with meaning, love, and stories that mattered. He is survived by his son, John, and reunited in memory with his wife of 60 years, Sally. Robert Benton's legacy endures in every honest story that dares to be told, and in every heart that still believes in the power of quiet strength. Charles Strauss, the legendary Broadway composer whose melodies became the soundtrack of generations, was born in 1928 on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Music found him early, at a piano, trying to lift his mother's spirits. That quiet gesture of love became the seed of a remarkable life in song. From humble beginnings, Strauss rose to become one of America's most enduring musical voices. He trained under greats like Aaron Copland and Nadia Boulanger, grounding his talent in both discipline and heart. But his path was far from easy. Though celebrated for timeless hits like Bye Bye Birdie, Applause, and Annie, he also faced the sting of disappointment. Shows closed early. Years of work sometimes faded overnight. Yet, his response was always gentle perseverance. "You've done your best. It didn't work. What's next?" he would say, with a resilience shaped by decades in the theater. Strauss's music gave us joy and hope. Put on a happy face. It's the hard knock life. Tomorrow. These were not just songs. They were lifelines, stitched into the fabric of American life. His melodies reached beyond the stage, into homes and hearts, from the animated charm of All Dogs Go to Heaven to the beloved TV theme, Those Were the Days. On May 15, 2025, Charles Strauss passed peacefully at home in New York City, surrounded by family and the legacy he built over 7 decades. Though he faced both triumph and hardship, his music remained constant, uplifting, enduring, and always human. Charles's melodies still echo in classrooms, theaters, and living rooms. He gave the world not just music, but warmth, wit, and the belief that no matter how hard the day, a brighter tune is always just around the corner. Joan Marsh, the eloquent British actress and storyteller, captured the hearts of audiences across continents through her unforgettable work, both in front of and behind the camera. Born in London in 1934 to working-class parents, she endured the hardships of war, illness, and class prejudice, yet transformed those very trials into the foundation of a groundbreaking career in drama. Jean's life was shaped early by resilience. She survived the Blitz as a child and later faced physical paralysis and Bell's palsy. But it was in those moments of stillness that she discovered the power of words, performance, and imagination. Trained in theater and dance, Jean went on to star in celebrated British and American productions: Doctor Who, The Twilight Zone, Frenzy, Return to Oz, and Willow among them. Her most enduring creation was Upstairs, Downstairs, which she co-created with longtime friend Eileen Atkins. As Rose Buck, the devoted parlourmaid, Jean brought humanity and quiet dignity to a role that earned her a Primetime Emmy Award and the admiration of audiences worldwide. She later returned for the show's revival, earning yet another Emmy nomination, even after recovering from a stroke. Jean's work was deeply rooted in her own story, a woman born downstairs who told the stories no one else dared. Her contributions went beyond performance. She was a writer, a creator, and a voice for those too often left in the shadows. Her storytelling resonated because it came from truth. On April 13, 2025, Jean passed peacefully at her London home due to complications related to dementia. Her legacy endures in every thoughtful scene, every brave character, and every viewer who saw themselves reflected in her work. Jean Marsh reminded us that dignity knows no class, and that the stories worth telling come from the heart. Johnny Rodriguez, a pioneering voice in country music and a storyteller with a soul full of song, left an indelible mark on American music. Born Juan Rodriguez in Sabinal, Texas, just miles from the Mexican border, he grew up in a modest home, the second youngest of 10 children, and began his musical journey singing in church and local bars. Blending mariachi roots with classic honky-tonk, he forged a path all his own. At just 18, Johnny was discovered while singing in jail for a minor offense, an unlikely start that would soon lead to a historic career. Changing his stage name to Johnny Rodriguez, he became the first major Mexican-American country music star. With his rich voice and tender phrasing, he gave the genre new life and new language, seamlessly weaving Spanish into the country sound. His 1973 debut album, Introducing Johnny Rodriguez, shot to the top of the Billboard country charts, and his hits, like Ridin' My Thumb to Mexico and I Just Can't Get Her Out of My Mind, became standards. Over the years, Johnny recorded 26 albums and 45 charting singles, earning 6 number-one hits, a place in the Texas Country Music Hall of Fame, and the Institute of Hispanic Culture Pioneer Award. Johnny faced challenges both personal and public, including health struggles and moments of adversity. Yet his music never lost its warmth, nor did his presence, humble, generous, and grounded in the stories he sang. On May 9, 2025, Johnny passed peacefully while in hospice care, surrounded by family. His daughter Aubrey shared the news, honoring him not only as a legendary artist, but as a loving father and friend. Johnny's voice still echoes in every heartfelt lyric, reminding us that music can carry the weight of history and the hope of home. Roy Thomas Baker, the visionary behind some of rock's most iconic anthems, lived a life filled with sound, precision, and unforgettable artistry. From his early days as a teenage engineer at London's Decca Studios to producing Queen's groundbreaking Bohemian Rhapsody, Baker transformed the sonic landscape of modern music. Born in England, Roy quickly climbed the ranks of music production, working under legends like Gus Dudgeon and Tony Visconti. His technical brilliance and creative instincts soon caught the attention of top artists, leading him to work with the Rolling Stones, David Bowie, and The Who. But it was his partnership with Queen that defined a generation. Across their first 4 albums, Roy helped sculpt the band's theatrical sound, culminating in the genre-defying masterpiece, Bohemian Rhapsody. Initially dismissed as an oddity, the song became the most streamed track of the 20th century, a testament to Roy's boldness and belief in the unconventional. His success didn't stop there. In the late 70s and 80s, Roy produced 4 albums for the Cars, shaping hits like Just What I Needed and Shake It Up, while also guiding hard rock icons like Mötley Crüe, Ozzy Osbourne, and Journey. As an A&R executive at Elektra, he championed rising acts like Metallica and 10,000 Maniacs, forever changing the music landscape. Known for his discipline, wit, and passion for layered sound, Roy never settled for good enough. He demanded excellence and created magic, track by track, take by take. On April 12, 2025, Roy passed away peacefully at his home in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. His wife, Tere Livrano Baker, and brother Alan survive him. Roy Thomas Baker's legacy isn't just heard, it's felt. In every soaring harmony and thunderous beat, his influence lives on. Gene Hackman, one of Hollywood's most revered actors, was born on January 30, 1930, in San Bernardino, California. His journey from a Marine Corps veteran to an Academy Award-winning performer is a testament to resilience, dedication, and an extraordinary talent that spanned generations. Known for his powerful presence and emotional depth, Hackman became a defining figure in American cinema, with unforgettable roles in The French Connection, Unforgiven, Hoosiers, and The Conversation. Hackman's career was marked not only by success, but by perseverance. Entering the industry later than most, he overcame early doubts and carved a path for himself with sheer determination. His performances resonated with truth, each character grounded in authenticity, whether he played a hardened detective or a flawed patriarch. Though critically acclaimed, Hackman often faced creative friction on set. His role in the Royal Tenenbaums remains iconic, even as he clashed with the film's young director, a reflection of his deep commitment to his craft. In his later years, Hackman gracefully stepped away from acting, focusing on writing and living quietly with his beloved wife Betsy in Santa Fe. In February 2025, he passed away at the age of 95 from heart disease, with Alzheimer's as a contributing factor, just days after Betsy, who also succumbed to illness. Their quiet departure marked the end of a profound chapter in American film history. Gene Hackman's legacy lives on through the roles that touched millions and the stories that challenged and moved audiences. A true artist of character and conviction, Hackman leaves behind a body of work that continues to inspire and a spirit that shaped the very heart of storytelling. Tommy Hunt, the velvet-voiced soul legend and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, passed peacefully in his sleep on February 12, 2025, at the age of 91. Though his final days were spent away from the home he loved, he left this world surrounded by the enduring power of his music and the respect of generations he inspired. Born into humble beginnings, Tommy's path to music stardom was anything but easy. Coming of age in a time of racial barriers and industry limitations, he rose through hardship with little more than raw talent, determination, and a voice that could carry both joy and sorrow. He first captured hearts as a member of the Flamingos, delivering transcendent harmonies on hits like "I Only Have Eyes for You." But it was his journey beyond the group that revealed his true resilience. As a solo artist, Tommy faced industry skepticism and the constant challenge of proving himself in a changing musical landscape. Yet he broke ground again by being the first to record "I Just Don't Know What to Do With Myself," a Burt Bacharach and Hal David classic that showcased his emotional depth. Through changing tastes, personal setbacks, and the highs and lows of fame, Tommy never let go of his calling. In 2001, his contributions were immortalized with the Flamingos' induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a moment of long overdue recognition for a career forged through both talent and tenacity. Tommy's final wish was simple, that his music would live on. His chosen song, "I've Gotta Be Me," captures a life lived with authenticity and heart. More than a performer, Tommy Hunt was a survivor, a pioneer, and a soul whose music will echo far beyond his time. Bob Kuban, the spirited drummer and bandleader who made waves in the 1960s with the unforgettable hit "The Cheater," passed away peacefully in his sleep on January 20th, 2025, at the age of 84 due to complications from a stroke. His legacy, however, continues to resonate with fans of classic pop and soul-infused rock. Born in St. Louis in 1940, Bob's journey into music began with a moment of fate, being called up by Chuck Berry to play drums as a child. Inspired by legends like Ike Turner, Bob dreamt of leading a band with big horns and even bigger energy. That dream came to life in 1966, when his group, Bob Kuban and the In-Men, broke onto the national scene with "The Cheater," a brassy, bold anthem that climbed to number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. Though he is often labeled a one-hit wonder, Bob embraced the title with humor and pride. "I would rather have one hit than no hits," he once said, a testament to his grounded and grateful nature. The song earned a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's exhibit on one-hit wonders and became a defining track of its era. Yet, Bob's rising stardom faced a sudden halt. A planned tour of Australia was cancelled due to the Vietnam War Draft Board, which threatened to revoke his deferment status as a teacher. It was a tough twist in a promising career, but Bob continued to make music, teach, and perform for decades. In later years, he led the Bob Kuban Brass and authored a memoir, My Side of the Bandstand. Bob Kuban leaves behind a legacy of rhythm, resilience, and the joy of a well-played beat. His music lives on, as vibrant as ever. Alice Tan Ridley, a powerhouse vocalist whose journey from New York City subway stations to national television touched millions, passed away on March 25, 2025, at the age of 72. A symbol of resilience and raw talent, her story is one of determination, heart, and unwavering belief in the gift of music. Born in Charles Junction, Georgia, in 1952, Alice was the seventh of 8 children. After moving to New York in 1971, she became a licensed teacher, working with special needs children. But when life brought unexpected hardship, a job loss and a divorce, she turned to what she had always known: her voice. For nearly 30 years, Alice sang in subway stations, her gospel and R&B melodies echoing through the underground, turning daily commutes into sacred spaces. Her breakthrough came not in her youth, but in her late 50s, when a video of her singing caught the attention of a young admirer who became her manager. In 2010, she stunned national audiences with a soul-stirring rendition of At Last on America's Got Talent, advancing to the semifinals and finally receiving the recognition she long deserved. At 63, she released her first studio album, Never Lost My Way, a fitting title for an artist who always stayed true to herself. She performed around the world, graced the stage at B.B. King's, and even lent her voice to international commercials. Yet, she never lost touch with her roots, returning at times to sing in the very subway stations where her journey began. Alice Tan Ridley lived her truth through song. Her voice told stories of love, struggle, and strength. Her legacy, like her music, is timeless, soulful, and deeply human. She reminded the world that sometimes the most extraordinary voices rise from the most unexpected places. Jim Short, the sharp-witted Australian-born comedian whose clever storytelling and observational humor made him a beloved figure in the stand-up world, passed away in early January 2025 at the age of 58, following a reported stomach illness. His loss has sent ripples through the comedy community on both sides of the Pacific. Born in Australia in 1967, Jim moved to the United States in the late 1970s and gradually built a reputation as a comics comic, a thoughtful performer whose intelligence and timing drew both laughter and admiration. He gained prominence in the San Francisco comedy scene, where peers considered him a local legend. In 2004, he earned national recognition by winning the prestigious San Francisco International Stand-Up Comedy Competition, a turning point in a career decades in the making. Jim's success came through resilience and craft. While others raced toward fame, Jim took a quieter path, honing his voice, mastering his material, and building a loyal following. He appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman, Conan O'Brien, and Craig Ferguson, always delivering smart, insightful sets that resonated beyond punchlines. Behind the microphone, Jim was known for his warmth, generosity, and deep passion for comedy. Tributes from friends and colleagues like Margaret Cho, Bobcat Goldthwait, and Al Madrigal paint a portrait of a man who made others laugh just as easily off stage as he did on it. In the end, Jim Short never chased the spotlight. He earned it, one joke at a time, one audience at a time. His legacy lives not only in laughs, but in the quiet confidence of a true artist who spoke from the heart, and in doing so, connected us all. Kirk Meadows, beloved cast member of MTV's Floribama Shore and a bright presence in the world of reality television, passed away on May 2, 2025, at the age of 33 after complications from necrotizing pancreatitis and liver failure. His passing has left a profound emptiness in the hearts of his family, friends, and countless fans who came to know him through his humor, loyalty, and undeniable charisma. Born with a spirit that naturally drew others in, Kirk became one of the original stars of Floribama Shore in 2017. Over 4 seasons, he brought more than just entertainment. He offered authenticity, compassion, and a sense of unity that held the cast together both on and off camera. Whether he was sharing laughs, calming tensions, or simply being a listening ear, Kirk embodied the role of friend, brother, and confidant with effortless grace. In the final weeks of his life, Kirk's battle was long and difficult. Despite the pain, his friends, led by co-stars Amy Hall and Nilsa Prawant, rallied behind him, raising support, offering prayers, and sharing heartfelt memories. Their tributes speak volumes, Kirk wasn't just a castmate. He was the glue, the heart, the steady force who made everyone feel seen and loved. In her farewell, Amy wrote of seeing a dolphin at the beach the moment Kirk passed, a symbol of their shared love and a quiet, spiritual goodbye. It was a reminder that even in loss, his presence lingers. Kirk Metis's time with us was far too short, but his legacy is deeply felt. He brought people together, made them laugh, and reminded them of the beauty in being real. His light will never fade in the lives he touched. Breaking news. Today we explore the extraordinary life of a man whose very name evokes intensity, transformation, and passion, Al Pacino. At 84, he remains one of the most iconic figures in the history of cinema. But behind the timeless roles and unforgettable lines lies a life filled with profound loss, personal reinvention, and an aging body that now reflects the toll of a relentless career. How does a man who once played Michael Corleone and Tony Montana come to live so quietly, so reflectively, in a world that once could not look away? Al Pacino was born on April 25, 1940, in East Harlem, New York City. Raised by a single mother in the tough neighborhoods of the South Bronx, he came of age surrounded by hardship and instability. His father had left when Al was only 2 years old, and it was his mother and grandparents who tried to fill that void. Life was hard, money was tight, but within that rough reality, his mother gifted him something priceless: a love of film. It was in darkened theaters of the Bronx that young Al found escape, and perhaps more importantly, purpose. From an early age, Pacino was no stranger to risk. He began smoking and drinking as a child, was expelled from multiple schools, and dropped out at 17 after clashing with his mother over his future. But where others saw a lost cause, Pacino found a calling. He began studying acting seriously, often working menial jobs to afford lessons. At times, he had no home and no safety net, only the stage and the dream of becoming more than his circumstances. That dream came dangerously close to slipping through his fingers. When his beloved mother died in 1962, followed by his grandfather just a year later, Pacino was left with nothing: no home, no money, and no family to catch him if he fell. He would later describe that time as the lowest point of his life. In his memoir, he recalled wishing for just one more conversation with his mother, to say, "Hey Ma, see what happened to me." That longing would echo in the depth of every role he would later inhabit. But acting, as it turned out, became his salvation. Pacino honed his craft on the gritty stages of New York's underground theater scene. In 1968, he received his first major recognition with the off-Broadway play The Indian Wants the Bronx, a performance that earned him an Obie Award and the attention of powerful people in the industry. One of them was Martin Bregman, a producer who saw in Pacino a star waiting to be unleashed. Bregman would soon become Pacino's manager, and the man who helped him land the role that changed everything, Michael Corleone. The Godfather was not an easy path to stardom. The studio fought bitterly against casting Pacino, believing he was too short, too obscure, too unconventional. But director Francis Ford Coppola saw something different: a quiet storm, a young man capable of playing both vulnerability and menace. Even after filming began, executives tried to have him replaced. It was not until they watched Pacino's chilling restaurant assassination scene that they finally understood. He was not just good, he was unforgettable. That role earned him an Academy Award nomination and launched him into stardom. Yet behind the scenes, Pacino was struggling. The pressure nearly broke him. During filming, he injured his ankle so severely that injections were needed just to keep him walking. But in a moment that reveals the weight he carried, Pacino admitted his first thought after the injury was relief. Maybe now, he thought, they would fire him. Maybe now he could stop fighting to prove he belonged. Prove it, he did. Over the next 2 decades, Pacino delivered some of the most iconic performances in cinema history. In Serpico, he played a whistle-blowing cop navigating the treacherous waters of NYPD corruption. In Dog Day Afternoon, he captured desperation and humanity in a botched bank robbery. And then came Scarface, a role so bombastic and extreme that it turned him into a symbol of power, rebellion, and excess. The film was polarizing at first. Critics balked, communities protested. But over time, Tony Montana became a cultural phenomenon. His lines, his attitude, his downfall, all immortalized in popular culture. But greatness, even when earned, does not make one immune to the cost. In the years that followed, Pacino faced financial turmoil. After losing an estimated $50 million through mismanagement, he was forced to take roles he did not love, including Jack and Jill, a film he later admitted accepting purely for the paycheck. During this period, he described his life as a crazy montage of loss. From an outside perspective, it seemed the titan of method acting had fallen into parody. Yet even in that chaos, there was a quiet resilience. He continued teaching, mentoring young actors, and developing projects close to his heart. One of them was Looking for Richard, a documentary exploration of Shakespeare's Richard III, which blended performance, philosophy, and interviews to remind modern audiences why classical storytelling still matters. It won critical acclaim and proved that Pacino never lost his depth, only his audience, for a moment. On the personal front, Pacino's life was equally complex. His relationship with Diane Keaton, whom he met while filming The Godfather, was one of Hollywood's most watched romances. But despite their chemistry and shared history, Pacino never settled down. Keaton eventually gave him an ultimatum: commit or let go. He let go. She walked away. In recent years, Pacino's private life made headlines once again when he became a father at 83. His partner, Noor Alfallah, is 54 years his junior, and their relationship drew intense media scrutiny. When the pregnancy was announced, Pacino reportedly requested a DNA test, convinced he was too old to father another child. But when the results came back, he embraced fatherhood once more. His son Roman is now part of a blended family that includes 3 older children: Anton James, Olivia Rose, and Julie Marie. At 84, the man who once ruled the screen now moves through life more slowly. His health, once hidden behind roles demanding physicality and fire, now shows signs of wear. He lives more quietly, reflecting on a lifetime filled with seismic highs and devastating lows. Gone are the days of red carpets and relentless spotlight, replaced by mornings with his children, teaching workshops, and occasionally stepping back into the frame for roles that matter to him. Even now, he continues to work. Upcoming projects include Maudit, a biopic directed by Johnny Depp, where he portrays an art dealer during the final days of painter Amedeo Modigliani. Another project, The Ritual, sees Pacino exploring the haunted realm of spiritual warfare. These roles are darker, more philosophical, more meditative, perhaps reflecting where he now stands in life. And yet, he remains defiant in his own quiet way. He never married. He never bowed to Hollywood's demands. He never followed the mold. In many ways, Al Pacino has lived as his characters did, on the margins, with intensity, and never quite willing to surrender. His legacy is not just about the films. It is about a man who came from nothing, who survived loss and failure, who held on to art like a lifeline. He is a teacher, a father, a legend, and above all, a survivor. So we ask you, what is your most powerful memory of Al Pacino? Is it that chilling stare in The Godfather? That famous line in Scarface? Or is it something more? The sense that, somehow, through every performance, he gave a piece of his soul. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this tribute moved you, consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more stories that honor the artists who shaped our world. Al Pacino's journey is far from over, but as he steps into the twilight of his years, we pause to reflect with gratitude on the life and work of a man who never stopped giving. and never stopped fighting to be heard.